Hey, fragrance lovers and enthusiasts, welcome back. It's Benjamin here, of course, at the Scentitar Fragrance channel, talking about fragrances, perfumes, and all things scent related. Well, today we're going to be talking about let's be bad guys. Are we bad guys? Are we villains? Are we the criminals? Well, let's talk about this fragrance, my friends. This one is a bold little creature in its own little way. I'm kind of trying to get away from talking too much about the notes. I like to highlight some of the big notes or what makes a fragrance work in its composition, what makes a fragrance tick. I like to mention a few of those notes. The majority of what you're going to get from this fragrance probably is a very nice, smooth, but also almost suede like leather, but it's not as suede like, but it has the smoothness of suede, but it still smells like leather. And a very interesting gunpowder accord. This gunpowder is not a common note in fragrances. There's very few fragrances that use that. Iron Duke by Beaufort London, and Flower Bomb Nectar, surprisingly, by Victor and Rolf, actually has that accord in it as well. But overall, it's quite a rare accord, quite a rare note that is used in fragrances. This one's called Let's Be Bad Guys. This one smells like you're wearing, leather, and you maybe just, rob the bank or something crazy like that. It has a bad boy or a bad girl vibe about it. Definitely so, like Bonnie and Clyde. This is that kind of fragrance. I think it captures that smell pretty darn well. It's a little bit sour. It's a little bit tart, and with that gunpowder vibe, it could come off. If you're unfamiliar with that kind of smell of burning powder, if you've never been to the range or never had that experience before, it might smell like an odd metallic smell to you. It might smell very strange. Now, to me personally, I have been to the range and I know what those things are like. And to me, this doesn't smell exactly like modern gunpowder or smokeless gunpowder. To me, this smells more like black powder. Which, if you're familiar at all, of course, when you come to the Scentitar Fragrance channel, I'm going to share y'all a little bit of my wisdom. Um, Black powder was before modern smokeless powder, and it was much more natural in its composition, and it had a unique smell about it. And you can look up how some of the black powder was even made back in the day. You could make black powder out of some wild ingredients, and it could be a very creative type of substance. I'll just put it that way. Anyways, this captures that smell a little bit. I think if you are familiar with like bottle cap, little toys that kids would have back in the day, those have fallen out of popularity. Those are not politically correct these days. But as a kid, I used to love them. You'd have your little toy, and it'd just go bang bang, and there'd be this like little caps of powder, and you'd have like this little metal piece that just would smack it, and like a firework, and it would combust, just like those little fireworks that you would throw on the ground and they would pop when they're hit. It was those same kind of chemicals. So to me, it captures that smell, and this fragrance is kind of nostalgic for me. I remember those little bottle cap toys. I don't even want to say what they were because of what YouTube is and what YouTube will do to possibly to me. We just live in that kind of world. It's pretty sad, but those were fun times, and at a time where people played games like Cowboys and Indians. And this fragrance reminds me of that. This is an odd fragrance. I do have to say it. This is daring. This is not for everybody. This is an indie fragrance, but it's pretty hard to wear on the wearability scale. This is not easy to wear. This probably isn't even in the middle of the road. This is probably on the daring side of things. Not the most daring thing I've ever smelled, but it's going to be strange for a lot of people. When I did wear this fragrance, longevity wise, this gave me 6 hours or so, 7 hours, and it's not the strongest in projection or sillage, but it's a very distinctive smell. And that's a big positive. People are able to pick up on it in a good way because it's not overtly loud. It's a little bit more seductive, or it grabs people in a really nice way. I think that if it was a stronger performing fragrance, like some of these fragrances, 8 hours plus, that this one, because it's such a unique smell, I think it could easily become cloying or overbearing or annoying to people around you. This is going to be a very unusual smell. And again, if you're around people who are overtly sensitive, especially in a political way, and you tell them the name of this fragrance and that it smells like gunpowder, that might be very offensive to some people out there. To me, that's a normal way of life, and that's a normal way of being. And it also, of course, I believe in liberty. So I'll just put that out there. Anyways, interesting fragrance, very difficult to like. Sucreabeille has some very daring fragrances. They have one that's called Arsenic. I reviewed one a while ago called, I think it was called Poison, or something to that effect. I even put a snake in the thumbnail because it captures that feel of danger. So this one, let's be bad guys, definitely captures a very interesting feel, a very interesting smell. And that kind of is a part of the compliment factor. You're not going to get a lot of compliments with this fragrance, but when you do, people are going to find it very interesting, very bold. They're going to find you maybe at like an enigma. This fragrance is definitely for somebody who wants to stand out in a unique way, but be a little bit more seductive, a little bit more sly and mysterious about it. You're not trying to beg for attention, but certainly this can get somebody's attention. I can imagine that if you like to wear cowboy boots and a cowboy hat regularly, maybe you're a rugged individual. I do think that this is perfectly unisex, but I do feel like a rugged man perhaps would like this more. There's no sweetness, there's not anything particularly soft or dainty about this fragrance at all. It's a very rough fragrance. If you are the kind of guy who's very rough and tumble, I think that you would probably gravitate more towards this, but I suppose there is a lady out there who could wear this. I've never met such a lady, but maybe one day I will. Very interesting fragrance, nonetheless. Compliment factor is just, this is not your Invictus, it's not your Sauvage, it's not your Dylan Blue or Ventus. This is not your compliment fragrance. Anyways, my final thoughts and the price. I think that prices for Sucreabeille fragrances are quite wonderful. For some of their fragrances that I think are the better ones for my taste, you can get a 1 ounce for $39. That's about $120 or so for 3 ounces. Kind of a full size bottle. You can buy them, bite size. The performance is not bad on most of them. Pretty decent, and the smells are unique. You can find something that suits your character, and that's what's so fun about indie. Indie fragrances allow you, just like niche, but especially with indie, to find something catered to your own taste, to find something unique, different, and speaks to your personality. And people who often find indie fragrances they love often rebuy those fragrances and kind of make them signature scents because they love them, and it's kind of a reflection of who they are. They connect to that fragrance in a big way, maybe nostalgia. This fragrance might be nostalgic for you. For me, this isn't an overtly wearable fragrance. Maybe it'll grow on me, but I don't find myself wearing this too often. I do like incensey fragrances and smoky fragrances from time to time. This one kind of has that vibe as well. And I don't really care about possibly offending people here and there. This isn't an offensive fragrance. But if you do wear this out and about, some people might like it and some people actually might dislike it on you. I do think that's a little bit of a negative, but not too much for me. It's just not something that I personally love the smell of. I kind of lean towards more mint and aromatics and more on the gourmand side of things a lot of the time. And I love my musk and my leathers, my coffees, and my tobaccos. Anyways, interesting fragrance, nonetheless. Check this one out from Sucreabeille. I'll include the link down below. Y'all know that these indie brands sent me these for review a while back ago. I'm happy to be able to bring them to you. Take this with a grain of salt if you like. I wasn't even overtly positive. I'm not hyping up these fragrances. I'm here to help introduce them to you, to help you find the fragrances that you truly love. That's what the Scentitar Fragrance channel is all about. That's what my goal is. I'm Benjamin, of course, if you forgot. And that's what I'm all about. I'm helping you find what you truly love. So, let's be bad guys. Interesting fragrance. If you're a villain at heart, if you got a little bit of a heart, a hard heart, a little bit of a stone heart, check this one out. You might be that kind of guy or that lady who's got a wild side. So, interesting fragrance. I didn't talk too much about the notes. I feel like there's not a lot of notes, and I want to talk about the main accords in the fragrances. Anyways, I'll see you next time, my friends. Wear what you love, rock what you got, and if you did like my video today, please like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and share the video. Tell a friend, and I'll see you next time, everybody. And bye.